All right, everyone, we're live. Thank you for joining us. Today we have a awesome guest. I've been looking forward to this for a while. It's my very, very good friend Dexter from well, we met in college in Peoria, but we'll tell you more about that later. So, Dexter, if you just want to give a quick intro on yourself to the people, please.
Hello, everybody. How's everybody going today? As Mark said, met him back in Peoria. Uh, where we at? Bradley University.
Oh,
Fun times, right?
oh yeah, oh yeah, for
Fun times.
sure. Yeah, that was like 10 years ago already. That's crazy. Time
That
flies.
had me thinking. I'm trying to remember when I actually very first met you. Do
We
you
met.
remember?
You met in
Like,
it was the college algebra, right? It had to be.
was it? I can't remember. Were you in engineering at one point? At one point in time?
No, no. I was never
Um,
in but we had the same our very first semester we were in 109, algebra 109. You remember that? I know it was a long time ago.
no, I do. I remember 109. I thought we were 115. But what was his name? Nunez
Oh yeah,
and
we were in the with Ali
I remember that. That was second semester. But
yeah, yeah.
oh man. But no, we had some definitely some good times, man. Some good times.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so let's take it back to before Bradley first. So now you're born and raised in Chicago, Illinois. So like, can you kind of, for the people that don't know about Chicago, can you like kind of give a summary about what it was like growing up there?
Um I mean for me it was fun. Chicago is a big city and small at the same time. Meaning, you'll probably see people like you run in high school or grammar school or whatever, but it's just so much stuff to do. I live more so on the south side of Chicago, so it's kind of different from the north side a little bit, but I mean it's I don't know, it's home for me. I guess I need a little bit more specific question, but it's nice. It's nice. I enjoy it. Weather's all over the place. Um, People are very very interesting. Like I said before, a ton of places to go, a ton of different foods. We got like our own Chicago style pizza and things of that nature. It's a special place
Awesome, awesome.
for
So,
sure.
yeah, yeah, like you said, ask more specific question. So can you elaborate when you said interesting people? Can you elaborate on that?
Well, how do I want to say it? So, I don't know if you've seen like places where they be like Philly or in New York, where like people are kind of tough or it could be a little rude sometimes. It's kind of like that.
Hmm.
Um, but at the same time, you really do run into nice people as well. So I guess it kind of depends on the area you're in or the environment. Um, yeah, it's unique. Put it like this: like they say, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. That's the
Hmm.
truth. Definitely,
Oh,
definitely.
okay. That's cool. That's cool. So yeah, Chicago is definitely a big city environment for sure.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And the nightlife is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah,
Nightlife is
yeah.
very crazy. In a good way. In a good way.
Like in a good way. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. It can be expensive, right? It can be expensive depending on where you're going, but I guarantee you, you'll never be bored in the city if you know where to go.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. So can you for the people that aren't familiar with Chicago, can you tell them or tell us about so like what's the education and like the job scene, like what's it like in Chicago in regards to like, jobs and education?
That's a good question, though. I don't really know the answer to that one. I will say this though. So I went to a college prep school, so that was a good experience. I mean, it was I was around a lot of bright students, very very well educated. I wouldn't say that's the norm as far as because it's like a selective enrollment, so you kind of gotta be a little smart to get in. But overall, I know it's a lot of major companies in Chicago for sure in the downtown areas. A lot of offices and big corporations
Yeah, yeah,
headed
for
down.
sure.
Yeah, I was working at a company last year, like right on the riverfront. So that was pretty cool to see the high rise and stuff like that. Because I never actually worked downtown before. Like I would come visit, was to see people coming in and out, and just the hustle and bustle. It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Like what? I mean, you don't have to give out the name of the place, but what kind of job was it? Like what industry?
This was an IT or software. Well, yeah,
Okay.
we did a lot. We did like software testing. I wasn't there that long. I
Oh, okay.
was on there for like a month, and then
Oh, okay.
I moved over to the company I'm with now. So,
Oh, okay.
but then they got it's so much. There's so much stuff going on downtown. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
ridiculous.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, to us it's normal, but for like people from smaller towns or places, or even outside of the U.S., yeah, Chicago is the third largest city in the United States. So yeah, if it's a very, very, very large city with they got like the stock exchange. It's like one of the it's like one of the most major cities, not in not just in the U.S. but in the whole world.
All right.
So
It's funny though. When you look at it on the map, it's like really small though. Like
yeah,
look at Chicago, it's like really small in Illinois, but yeah, I think the population here probably is bigger than like the entire state. Don't quote me on that, but I think
yeah, it might be.
yeah, I think this one place is takes over everybody. But
Yeah, for
I didn't know
sure.
that. I didn't know that third largest. Do you know what the other two are?
Yeah, New York is number one and Los Angeles is number two.
Okay, I've never been to either one of them. So
Yeah, and then Houston is four right after Chicago.
H Town.
Yeah, but I heard I don't know how true this is, but I saw on social media that Houston's supposed to be a larger city than Chicago in like 2025. They're saying.
I wouldn't be surprised. A lot of people actually moving out of. Well, I don't know if it's just Chicago, but I guess out of. Well, I don't know. I don't know. People, a lot of people moving out of Illinois in general, I guess, or it might be Chicago. I really don't know, but yeah, people are moving out a lot from
Yeah, for
taxes.
sure.
So I could definitely see somebody overtaking us in the next couple of years.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, we'll get more into that later. So now we kind of know your background in Chicago. So, as you were approaching, graduating high school, it's like, what were you thinking, like, in your mind for like your next move after high school? Like, did you know for sure in your mind you were set on going to Peoria to go to Bradley, or did you have other options? Like what was your thinking at that time?
I had a few different offers at the time. Funny story with that. One, it was in Marquette. I think that's like Wisconsin.
Yeah, Milwaukee. Yeah.
Or yeah, one of the two. So that was an option. U of I, which is obviously still in Illinois, so it's not, like a big move. Another place I was looking at, I think it was like North Carolina A&T, I believe. I never been there, but somebody told me just to apply. I got accepted, so that was pretty cool. So I was thinking about the idea, and then of course, Bradley. So it really, honestly, wasn't really that much involved with the process. Bradley offered the most money for scholarship, so you know,
Yeah, yeah, I feel you.
it was pretty much easy at that point. Like, well, I'm going to Bradley. I had actually never heard about Bradley before Bradley, um, like at all.
Hmm.
So it was funny. Like, I had no clue where Peoria, Illinois was. Like, I'd never been to Peoria prior to Bradley. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, it was brand new.
Wow, okay,
Very.
okay. I mean that's cool. I mean that's I mean honestly, when people talk about choosing a college, I think finances, money is probably the number one thing most people would consider as like their uh their top deciding factor because I mean I'm sure everyone listening knows that especially a private school is not cheap
Man,
at all.
my goodness, ridiculous. But
Not
yeah,
cheap.
yeah, no, like I know. I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but I know a lot of people I went to high school went. They went to like U of I. Some of them went to Mizzou. Some went to like Florida. Some went to Atlanta. But I think like the majority is kind of like if you're in Illinois, you probably stayed in Illinois. But I think that's kind of have to do really with family too. You know.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, no, it makes a huge difference when it's like a scholarship. I'm like, oh, I'm going to Bradley. I'm going to be a Brave today. So,
Well, that's what's up. So,
yeah, it would have been
so,
nice though going to another school. I'm not gonna lie to you. It would have been nice to kind of see like different campuses and stuff like that. But you know,
hmm. Okay, so you
yeah.
accepted, the offer from Bradley with you. You didn't visit Bradley till after you accepted the offer. Is that correct?
I'm trying to remember because I think I think they kind of happened at the same time. I got um invited to Bradley. And then while I was out there, they offered a scholarship.
Oh,
And I feel like I'm old now. This is going back to high school, right? So I
yeah.
think that's what happened. Or they had some type of open house, something of that nature that they hosted. And from there, I was like, and they was like, oh well, qualifies for a scholarship, and they gave me like a scholarship right there on the spot. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
I can't remember if I was on Bradley campus or it was just a Bradley event.
Oh, like in the
Um,
city. They came to the city.
yeah, I can't remember, but I do know I did go to a what was it called? It wasn't siblings weekend, but it was like a mentor shadow type thing where I stayed in somebody's dorm room
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
weekend to kind of see the life of a college student. So that was cool, but I don't remember again if that was before or after. So
Hmm. Oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah, I know that was that was a while ago for us, but
I'm getting old. It's terrible,
yeah. So so yeah,
man.
so well, that's cool. That's cool. So yeah, now you kind of took us through that process of choosing where you wanted to go. So like when you finally went to freshman orientation and started your first semester at Bradley. So I mean, like you said, you never been to Peoria. You had like no prior experience about staying in Peoria before. So what
Zero.
was yeah. So what was your like initial reaction? Like how did you acclimate yourself from coming from such a large city, Chicago, and now you're in Peoria, Peoria is not like a super small, isolated rural town, but it's about
Right,
like 500K people. I
right.
mean, that's still like that's not super small, but it's kind of like we're in
It's not
central
like
Illinois, so it's
Caribbean.
not. Yeah, Yeah, it's nothing like
Yeah.
Chicago. So can you tell the people about your experience, like your first, probably like your first few weeks in Peoria? How was that like for you?
Oh wow. I gotta think back. Personally, it wasn't too bad of a transition as far as like kind of getting used to the area. It was more so finding all the stuff that I needed, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like since I didn't have a car as a freshman, it was like, okay, well, how do I get here? How do I get there? But it wasn't really too bad for me. I know some people are complaining and upset and like, oh my god, it's boring, and it kind of is. I mean, it's not as much to do or place to go in the immediate area. I didn't go super far off in Peoria. Like I didn't like branch all the way off and was driving all over the town, nothing like that. But I don't know. It just really wasn't that bad of a difficult of a transition. I'm like, hey, this is home for the next 4 to 5 years, so I kind of just got to make the best of it. One thing I will say though, people were a lot more friendlier. I had to get used to that a little bit. People were like, "Oh, hey, hi, how's it going?" Things of that nature. Chicago, yeah, it's not it's not as friendly. Um, and again, yeah, like I said, it was some adjusted, but not like a overall dramatic. Like, oh my god, I'm gonna lose my mind. Whereas people like, nah, it's small, so you kind of expect that going in, but made it work. Made it work. What about you? How did you like it in Peoria?
It was yeah, it was kind of weird because I mean, I went to a summer camp like the year before
Uh-huh.
at Bradley. I went to a summer camp because my well, I told this story on another video, but my mom's boss, he's an alumni of that
Okay.
school, so that's how like I found out about it. But yeah, I went to the summer camp and I mean it was cool. Like all our counselors were cool. They were of course students, and one of them was an admissions counselor. So she helped me out, like figuring
Nice.
out application process, scholarships, all that type of stuff. But
Nice.
yeah, I chose Bradley because I just had the most experience and familiarity with the place since I spent a week there, in the dorms at that camp, just experiencing, the current students and just atmosphere and everything. So, and then
Gotcha.
I got a lot of, scholarship aid or whatever it's called. I forgot what it's called, aid or subsidies or I don't.
Financial aid, yeah,
Yeah, like
whatever it
yeah,
is.
the whole financial
Right.
package was, it was pretty
Yeah,
good. So I was like, all right. I mean,
I hear that.
I already know some people here. I mean, I met my freshman year roommate. I met him at that camp too. So it was
Oh,
just kind of
nice.
yeah, yeah. So I already
I
knew
got lucky,
people.
my. I
What?
didn't have I didn't know anybody there actually, but I was gonna say I didn't have a roommate, so my first year that was fun.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
That was like
Yeah, I remember
I didn't
you didn't have a roommate. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
have no roommate, but again, at the same time, I didn't know anybody. Wow, now that I'm thinking about it, that is kind of crazy. Yeah, I never been to Peoria, never heard of Bradley, and I didn't know anybody there, and I still went. Ain't that funny? Oh
Uh,
no, I take that back. I take that back. I'm new. So one of my dad's friends' sons. My dad, am I saying it right? My dad's friend's son.
yeah, yeah.
Uh, he went to Bradley and graduated. Now, granted, I didn't meet him till like a couple of weeks or about a month before going to Bradley, but he kind of told me like a little bit of what to expect. So I mean, I guess that counts, but not really as far as knowing somebody. But other than that, yeah, it was a fresh start. I didn't know anybody, didn't know the area, um, didn't know the campus. I almost got lost the first night. So yeah, looking back at it, yeah, I couldn't be kind of dramatic.
Yeah. Yeah, for
Wow.
sure. So, so can you tell the people what area, like what did you study? What was your major?
I was in mechanical engineering and business was a business administration minor or business management minor. What was that? We were in some of the same classes, right? What was our minor?
Yeah, it was an yeah, you had a BMA minor, if I remember. It was called BMA,
Right.
business.
Did you have the same thing?
No,
Or
I was in the business college because I used to be in accounting.
oh, okay. That makes sense now. Wait, you were in accounting?
Yeah, it's a long story. I changed majors a lot. It's a long story.
I was about to say, I don't know. I remember. I don't know. I remember you being an accountant. That's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, I was
Okay.
in like 4 or 5 different majors, but that's for another video. But
That's for another time.
but yeah,
That's funny. Yeah, we were
we were
like
in like a
three.
leadership. I think we were in like some type of business leadership class with Mrs. The lady.
Um,
I forgot the
I
lady's
can't
name.
remember her name,
Yeah.
but hey, you remember the girl in the class though?
I don't want to say. I'm not gonna say her name
I know, I
on
know.
air.
I'm like, do you? I said,
Uh,
do you remember though?
yeah, I remember her. Yeah,
Oh,
she was in our group or something, right?
yep. Oh, fun times, man. Like I said.
I saw her. I think I saw her somewhere on social media. But I'll tell you about
Oh
that
yeah.
later. Off air.
Whoa. Off the record.
but
Oh man.
but yeah. So can you like tell the people like, especially for people that's applying for college and stuff. Like what
Mhm.
is the workload like being a mechanical engineer major and a business minor? Can you like give people like your best idea of what to expect if you're in that course of study?
Absolutely. So for engineering, hands down, if you're trying to get into that, it is nothing but math. Right. So you have calculus classes, you have physics classes, you have chemistry. Then you start going further than that, you get like thermodynamics, and it's just all math, pretty much all math. So I wasn't the math wasn't my strongest point. It was just something I really want to be. I want to be an engineer, so I had to work at it. So I had to put in a ridiculous amount of hours, um, like weekends, nights, all of that stuff. It was a ton of work on my part. So looking back at it, would I probably did engineering again? Probably not. Or I would have got better at math, before going in there. But it's a lot of work. Expect a lot of sacrificing. Um, you're gonna be studying a lot. Expect to fail a lot of classes or a lot of tests. I'm sorry, not classes. Expect to fail a lot of tests, but they do give you a curve. So um, trust me, it's been numerous occasions where the whole class will get like a 40 on an exam. But don't freak out. They'll curve it. It's hard, but it does come with a certain respect. So like if you say you're this major, you do have the persona and reputation of being a smart guy, and that's pretty good. So yeah, and don't expect to be around a lot of girls either, because at least at Bradley, right? And jokes,
Hmm.
it's probably 98% guys. So out of a classroom, about 20 might be maybe 2 or 3 girls in there. So if you're trying to meet girls, engineering's you're in the wrong class.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I knew when I was
But
at Bradley, I only knew like, well, I knew personally maybe only like one girl in engineering.
right.
Yeah, it's not too many.
Well, I knew them obviously because we're in the same class. Oh, and with that, so expect to see literally the exact same people over and over again. Like in your first year or two, it might be a little different. But again, once you start getting the more advanced classes, you're gonna have the same classmates in like 3 or 4 classes. I kid you not. Like you all can literally go from one room to the next room to the next room together. So
Oh,
yeah, and study groups, definitely be a part of study groups. Somehow, some way, I had a lot of connections. Like I really don't know how, but I was able to get books and cheat sheets and all types of stuff. So I had a pretty established study group, but yeah, it's work. It's work. It's more like the people who helps too. If you got a lot of other people who know stuff, it helps. You got some very smart kids in there, like genius level. So
okay, that's great advice. Yeah.
yeah,
So for all the people considering engineering, and the first point you made was you gotta really sharpen your math skills, definitely, because
when I
it's
say
very
math,
math intense.
I literally like I'm not exaggerating. Every single class is math related, unless you do your gen eds or like with the business. Everything is straight math. And it's not the same math, right? It's different. It's different types of math. Like some is a little bit more like calculations, some is theory, some is other stuff. But it's math. It's straight up math. So if you're not that's not something you're interested in or something you kind of bored with, you're not going to get away from it for
Oh,
years.
okay,
So
okay.
you've been warned. You've been warned.
So, for engineering, what about how strong does your science skills have to be? Like, in I don't. You guys took physics, right? Is that like
For
science, or that
me,
just more type of math type stuff?
it's kind of like you start off. So remember, we started college algebra, right?
Yep.
Even again in that in itself. So it's like that's the absolute basis. So you have college algebra, then you start moving up into um, kind of like you said, the sciencey, like chemistry and physics is kind of like concepts and like word definitions and things like that, and covalent bonds and things of that nature. Um, and then, like I said, when you start moving more into advanced classes, it is more it kind of about concepts. I mean, you have to grasp the concepts, but again, it's straight math. But it's not all the way like you're plugging in numbers all the time. Sometimes it is, but it's like manipulating equations to solve certain things. So, for example, that's pretty much what thermodynamics is. You have one main equation that you have to plug in things, while you're going on doing answering the question, and you have to flip it around in different ways to get what you're looking for. So I guess you could say it's kind of like a an understanding type thing. You're gonna probably have to read a little bit, watch YouTube videos, maybe ask a professor. Like it's concepts you do have to grasp, but um, yeah, if you can understand the math is really just another language. To be honest, it's this language. If you can understand that, that's pretty much half the battle right there.
Oh, okay, okay. Thank you. That's a good breakdown. Good breakdown. Uh,
Yeah.
so I mean, you told us about it's a heavy load, course load and stuff. So I mean, outside of academics, like what would you recommend, up and coming engineering students? What can they do outside of the classroom to prepare, for a career? Like, is there stuff like workshop, career, like engineering career fairs or networking events? Like, what's available to engineering students out there to help their career prospects when they graduate?
I would definitely say if you can before getting to school. probably kind of repetitive, but again, take as many math classes. I would start with calculus as soon as possible because that's the basis for everything. Now, if you're already in college or in engineering, hands down, the best thing you could do is try to find an internship for sure. It might not necessarily help with classes as much because when you're on a job, they're going to teach you everything you need to know anyway. But when it comes to finding a job and putting yourself in a position for a career, like you're already 100 steps ahead of everybody else. Because I mean, we're all going to school obviously to get a degree and things of that nature, but ultimately you want a job, right? So that's one thing I wish I would have did. I mean, I knew of it, like people were telling me to do it, and I was just like, yeah, kind of, yes, no, maybe. No, you definitely want to get an internship like as soon as possible. One, because the sooner you get in, they'll probably keep asking you to come back like over and over and over again, and then by the time you're done with your 4 years or 5 years, they'll probably offer you a job right off the bat, which is pretty cool. You have a job, and then two, it looks good on your resume. Like it makes a huge difference having like you don't even have to have the best grades, right? But if you have that internship, it kind of I ain't gonna say it makes up for it, but it stands out. It stands out. So if anybody's listening, trying to go into engineering, already in it, do whatever you can to make sure you get an internship over the summer.
Okay, awesome, awesome, cool. So are
Yeah.
those internships you talked about? You mentioned summer. Are those mostly during summer between spring and fall semester, or do they have internships year round? Do you know?
At Bradley, specifically, they had a program. I think it was a co-op where I think you actually got college credits for it. I'm not sure. I have to look into that. But I know they had co-op program where you could take like a year and a half or 2 years, or yeah, I think it was a year and a half or two, and you literally go work for somebody, and that counts as some hours or some classes or something. So they have that option. How do you go about doing that? I have no clue. I'm assuming you got to be, in a pretty good uh, standing grades wise academically to be able to do that. Um, I don't know. I didn't do it, but yeah, if you're doing internship, that's usually over the summer. But they do got those two options. So uh, yeah, I never did the co-op. I can't speak on it too much, but an internship is definitely something you want to look into for the summer, or taking classes. Classes helps too.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah,
Awesome, awesome. Great advice for all the up and coming
yeah, man.
engineering students or those that are still deciding. That's cool.
Yes.
That's cool. So, yeah, we're at 43 minutes, so we'll kind of skip some steps here. But you went to school at Peoria, Bradley. So, I mean, can you tell us now about well, now you're in I mean, you're not in Chicago, but now you're like in northern Illinois, kind of in the middle of
Yeah.
nowhere. So I don't know how to best describe it. It's like, is it like
The,
is it a suburb or is it like outside of the Chicago suburbs?
I believe it's suburbs. I mean, again, I've never been to Crystal Lake a day in my life. That's where I'm at now. I work in Union, Illinois, and then I live in Crystal Lake. First, I was driving back and forth from Union. That sucked. Um, yeah, I think it's a suburb. I think it's a suburb.
Yeah, Crystal
And
Lake. Yeah,
again,
Crystal Lake is a
Crystal
suburb,
Lake.
but it's a really far out suburb. It's not one of those
Yeah,
suburbs close to the city. It is
nah.
far from the city.
It's like in between Rockford. almost.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, it's a drive. It's not a short commute.
Oh, okay,
Uh,
I see. That's cool.
but it's not the middle one. Well, yeah, Crystal Lake's not the middle. No, yeah, Union's a little bit more rural. Crystal Lake, at least what I've seen so far, it's it's kind of like Peoria, but a little bit bigger. That made any sense at all? Like
Yeah, I got you.
it's like because we had Campus Town and all that stuff, and Peoria and like surrounding areas. Where well, I know you know what it is. I think Crystal Lake has more Chicago like locations and restaurants, which makes
Yeah,
it feel bigger. If that makes sense. Because in Peoria,
I got you.
it wasn't really, there really wasn't anything like I don't remember Portillo's
Nope.
or what I mean, like anything of that like chain type restaurant out here. I mean, out there. Whereas here they have similar stuff. So it's not definitely not Chicago by any stretch of the imagination, but it's not like you know it's boring either. Like there's things to do. So
Yeah, I got you. It's
yeah,
just like a suburban type place, I guess.
right.
Yeah.
See, I've never lived in the suburbs. Like this is new to me. You know what I mean? Like what would you consider Peoria? Is that is I mean it's not a suburb obviously, but like
I mean,
what would you consider it?
I mean,
Like
it's I read.
Chicago's a city.
I mean, yeah, for sure. Chicago's definitely very,
Crystal
very
Lakes, Crystal
urban,
Lakes,
urban big city.
Crystal
Peoria,
Lakes,
Peoria is like would be considered a mid-sized city.
like a town or something.
Now, town would be like where no, I'm not gonna mention her. About that girl from the
I'm
class, she is from a quote unquote town, but anyways, a town
gonna
would
look
be
up. Who
a
said
town
that?
would be like a suburb of Peoria would be like a town. Because Peoria
Okay.
was a mid. I mean, I know to you it's not like you don't consider like a city because you're from Chicago, but in comparison to the
Right.
rest of the country, Peoria is, a mid-sized city, has about, 500, 600,000 people. That's pretty big. Well, obviously not to Chicago, but compared to everywhere else in the country, to like little small farm towns, that is big.
Gotcha.
But so yeah, so going back to Union, so what was your what field you work in again in Union?
Like it's construction, but that's not trying to figure out how to explain it. So okay, so the company I work at, I'm in the business development department, but it's a construction company. So I'm not like in the field or doing anything like that, but I do work for a construction company. So my job's kind of like a hybrid of engineering and accounting.
Oh, okay, I got you. I got you. It's cool. It's cool. So, would you
Yeah.
say your time at Bradley did that thoroughly prepare you for what you're doing currently?
Skill wise, no. There's two separate skills as far as like the technical side, but being able to learn, like if you look at stuff, like being able to teach yourself, right? A lot of stuff in engineering you have to learn how to learn, or you have to be self-taught to a certain extent.
Hmm.
So that skill transitions over. Like you're like, okay, you can kind of pick up on stuff faster. But like if things like physics and calculus, do I use that on this job? No. I mean, I use math, of course, but not that technical. So again, it's more so just the ability to learn. Reading diagrams, putting concepts together, understanding the big picture. That transitioned over, but it's almost like starting a brand new skill set.
Okay, I got you. I got you. That's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool. So what was I gonna say? So out of the three, areas you've lived in, so what was your, like, I guess for lack of a better term, like what was your most preferred or favorite, place you've lived in, like overall, like if factoring in, education, jobs, even just for recreation outside of work and school. Like what place would you pick as your number one?
All right, Mark. Now I feel like you already know the answer to that. It's a little biased, but yeah, I'm gonna have to go with good old fashioned Chicago on that one.
Oh, okay.
Nothing against nothing against the other places, but again, now again specifically strictly for the nightlife, I can't speak on Peoria and the other places like bad or anything like that. But Chicago's just next level. If you're downtown on a weekend, like it is ridiculous. So hands down, Chicago. Not saying other
Okay.
places are bad, right? Like I'm not saying
Mm-hmm.
they're bad. It's just
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's, you never know what you're gonna get into here. So
Yeah, yeah, for sure. So,
yeah.
like looking back, like you're throughout, from leaving high school to now, like, do you feel like, moving, like relocating to Peoria and now Union, do you feel like that made you like a better man, a better, I guess, employee, just a better person overall? Did that really elevate your life and your career? Or do you feel like you could have been just as successful if you stayed in Chicago?
Oh wow, that's a great question. Um, I would say the location itself probably really would make a difference. But just life in general, you know what I mean? Like how kind of how it's handed to you. It's kind of what makes you a better person. You just got to be able to go with the flow and understand that you might have a quote unquote plan, and it might not work out the way you planned, the way how you want it, which is not necessarily a bad thing. So, for example, I never quote unquote planned to be at Bradley. I went to Bradley. I didn't plan on being, um, you know, in Union, Illinois. Here I am, or Crystal Lake. I didn't plan on being in the company that I am now. So, but yet here I am. So it's life just works out in its own way. Nothing wrong with having a plan. Like, hey, I want to do A, B, C, and D, which is great. If it works out, perfect. But I think just being open and being flexible and just understanding life is completely unpredictable. So just do what you can to roll with it. That would probably say that would probably think would make you as the best person. And every place you go in, every scenario and every situation you've been in, take what you've learned from those areas. And that kind of helps you shape you to be the person that you are. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
Oh,
but who knows? I mean, if I was to go to L.A. or New York or Houston, it's a whole nother chapter in your life. So
you should
fun.
come to you should come to Houston. I'll tell you more about that
Well,
later.
that sounds like a plan.
Yeah,
That sounds like a plan.
Houston is expanding really, really fast. They got a lot of like engineering jobs and like the oil refineries, energy, what else? Like marine stuff, because there's a ship channel in Houston too. There's a lot of opportunities for engineering over here in Houston.
So it's not a game in Houston. It's that's the place to be.
Yeah, man, there's a lot of people coming here. They keep expanding all the highways. They're always building new apartment complexes, houses, new hotels. Like well, no, it's booming here right now for sure. It's been booming even when I I came here, what was it? Like over 6 years ago already. But yeah, I see actually when I drive to work and like going to work and coming back home, I see a lot of Illinois plates now out on the roads. It's crazy.
Really?
But yeah, I see like the new Illinois plates too. So I mean, there's a lot of people that copied off me and came here. But
I wouldn't be surprised. Like I said, it's a lot of people leaving. Again, I don't know if it's Chicago or Illinois, but
mhm.
yeah, Texas out here is not for the faint of heart. Put it like that.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, so we're at 55 minutes, so I'll wrap this up and I'll just ask you a final question that I always ask all our guests in this series I'm doing. So basically, I
Oh,
mean it's
like
not
put me
too
on the
hard.
spot.
No, no.
Nah,
But so the question is, let's say a young person, they got all the finances, resources, they can get jobs. Like they got everything they need to relocate somewhere, even if it's just maybe 3 hours away or even across the country. They got what it takes, logistic wise, career wise. They got it all together. But for whatever reason in their mind, they're second guessing themselves. Maybe they're just like scared to take that leap and try something different. You know, they're I mean, maybe they're just so comfortable in the place where they grew up.
mm-hmm.
They might be. I mean, it's natural, but I'm not trying to say it's like a terrible thing. But maybe they're just straight up scared to leave their family and friends and explore a new place. So, like, what would you tell those people to kind of give them a push off the diving board, or you know what I mean? Like, what would you tell them to get them to fully realize their potential?
Oh, that's a good one too. I think really in the beginning you got to be honest with yourself, right? Some people can't handle being away from home. You know, like I remember even being at uh, Bradley and Peoria. Some people literally got homesick. So I mean, I would any situation, I would always um, push someone to like try something different and see what it is. There's nothing wrong with being getting out your comfort zone. You actually grow. You do more and achieve more and experience more when you get out of your comfort zone. Sometimes holding our comfort zone holds us back, from growth and development. Like we'll see, have the same friends, or do the same stuff, do the same things. So I would definitely encourage it. If you can do something different, if it's within your means, but also be honest with yourself too. If you're a very home, really close to family, and that's a problem or that's an issue. Maybe not go from Chicago to Houston. Maybe something a little bit closer, or go to an area that you have family members. And I know some people do that. Me personally, hey, if I'm all for it. I'm gonna try something different if I like it. I'm gonna make the best of it. Um, I'm gonna take what I learned from that and apply it to anything else. So yeah, I would say try it. You never know what can happen in a good way. It's gonna make you a better person. It's gonna make you a more well-rounded individual. And you'd be surprised what you can do as a person, as a human being, when you put yourself in situations. You'd be like, oh, okay, I didn't know I could do this. I didn't know I could do that. If you go to a place and you don't know anybody, and a month or two, you could meet a whole new set of friends, try a whole new experiences, have a completely different um, environment. You might come back a different person. You know,
Hmm.
so yeah, I would say if you can truly afford it and you have the means to do it, I say go for it. You have nothing to lose, everything to gain.
Awesome, awesome. That was great advice for everyone out there for sure. Yeah, everyone, it's been an hour now, so again, I want to thank Dexter very much for joining us. You know, he's a busy man, but we definitely appreciate taking a time out of your day to impart your wisdom and your experience with everyone. It's very appreciated.
My wisdom. Thank you. I appreciate you having me. Just had wisdom. I ain't that old yet, Mark.
We're like the same age.
No, I'm just messing with you. But no, so definitely, have me. If you want me to come back, I'm all for it.
Yeah,
I'm
for
all for
sure.
it.
Yeah, you're welcome on the
But like,
show anytime, for sure.
we gotta have some other combos about Bradley and you know, certain situations we was in. We had some fun times, man.
Oh yeah. I mean, some
Fun
of the
times.
stuff you can't talk about on this channel, but
Fun times. Yeah, let's talk about your friend.
yeah, that's strictly for offline conversation.
uh, I hear you. I hear you.
But yeah, everyone, thank you again. Oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Peace.